Good evening. Hi, everyone. How are you doing? Hope you've had a good day. It's still quite dark, isn't it? I'm waiting for all of that to change. Welcome to my Instagram page. You're following me, Julia Bradbury, and I'm just about to do a really interesting live for all of us. So I'm talking to the founder of a company called Field Doctor. His name is Alex. And Field Doctor make healthy ready meals targeted for specific health conditions. So things like IBS or maybe diabetes, or if you're celiac, those kinds of things. We'll find out what FODMAP, the FODMAP diet is as well. And I'm also going to be discussing this new range that they have in development, which is being specifically designed for breast cancer survivors. But it's a general nutrition chat, health and well-being chat. And I'm also going to be chatting to the lovely dietitian called Laura Tilt as well. So hopefully they're going to be on the line with me now, and it's all going to work seamlessly, and it's going to be like a really smooth, wonderful little TV program. So I'm looking now to see who they're joining me. Hi Stig, how are you? I hope you're good. Hope everything's going well with your gorgeous art. Where are you painting? What walls are you painting now? Right, what have we got? Here we go. So here we go. This is the lovely Alex and Laura live. So I did the right thing. I pressed the right buttons. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, guys. Good evening. Proud dad, avid runner. Oh, yay, we've got one of you. Hey. Hi, Laura.
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
I'm good. I'm loving your jumper.
Oh, thank you very much. I went for the stripes tonight. Everybody likes a bit of stripe. I think it's quite cheerful. So I'm trying to get the gorgeous Alex in as well, who's the founder of Field Doctor. I've done accept a couple of times. Let's see what's happening there. I've never done an Instagram live with three people before. So
no, I don't think we have either. So
we might not still. Let's see how it goes. I haven't got him yet. I keep accepting him. Oh, come on, work for me. This happened to me before, actually. I was doing a live off after this morning, and we were trying to get three of us on there, and it just didn't work. So I hope that's not. It says, as Alex and anybody who's doing the techie side of that, it says Field Doctor is unable to join. Don't know why that is. I don't know if there's something to do with my settings, and I haven't,
Shall I go and Alex come back and then we can switch over? Do you think it's a 2 or 3 people issue?
It might be. So should we start with you?
Yeah.
Or should we start with Alex? Let's start with you.
Actually, I was going to say maybe start with Alex, because obviously he can talk a little bit more about Field Doctor.
There we go.
There we go. We're making plans for me to jump off. You're here.
We were already replacing you, Alex.
Fair enough. Easily replaceable.
Let me just now try and hide any comments down below here, so that isn't all. I'm going to turn off the commenting for now. There you go. So we've got a clean screen. So everybody, save your comments and we'll get the comments going later. Right, let me do a quick intro. So I've said hello to the lovely Alex. I've said hello to the lovely Laura. Field Doctor makes award-winning, healthy, ready meals targeted for specific health conditions. I think you are one of the only companies doing this, Alex. I haven't heard of it. I've heard lots of, healthy meals being delivered, but actually targeted things like IBS and celiac, vegan, vegetarian, FODMAP. You're going to tell me what that is. I haven't heard of it. So it's such a great concept. And for those of you who follow me on here, you know that I'm obsessed with nutrition and with food. And really, I'm excited by all sorts of the new things that are being developed in this space. So that's why I was really keen to talk to you guys. And then Laura, it's just always a pleasure to have an expert so that we can just all ask our questions and everything that we want to know. So I think let's start with me, because what you might know is that I have changed my diet and my lifestyle hugely since my breast cancer diagnosis. And I think that's probably why we're chatting, because we're all sort of aware of what's going on in this field. So shall I start by running through what I did? So after I was diagnosed with breast cancer 2.5 years ago, it was obviously a massive shock, as these chronic illnesses are, and it shook me and my whole family. But once I was through my treatment, and I had a mastectomy, and I had an estrogen positive breast cancer, for people who want to know the details. My treatment was a mastectomy, and from the moment that I came home, I made a promise to myself that I would be the best version of myself from now on in. And that included spending enough time outside, making sure I got outside every day, really revisiting my food. And I also did what I call a health audit. I looked back over all my past ailments, I wrote them all down, I catalogued them, and I realized actually that there was quite a lot to go through. And then I started going, right, what can I do to maintain my health and look after myself? And the number one change was food, because I was addicted to sugar. I had a very high sugar diet, refined sugar, incredibly sweet tooth that I've been nurturing since I was a young girl. I followed my dad for all of that. But it was chronic. It was 11 o'clock. I'd be dunking biscuits. I definitely always have a chocolate brownie after lunch. And then I'd sit at night, after eating, I'd eat late into the night and then have a bucket of popcorn with some Maltesers or something chucked in it as well. So I think we can use the word addicted, because I think I truly was. So the first thing I did, which was hard, but actually set me on the right road quite quickly, is I stopped snacking. I went, okay, I'm not going to snack anymore. I'm going to cut out the refined sugar, and I'm not going to allow myself to eat in between meals. And I'm going to stop eating earlier in the evening, so I'm not sort of digesting my food when I go to bed, and I'm not having massive blood spikes as well. So that was number one, and I'd be interested to hear what you think about that, Laura, and how easily it is to do that, and healthy snacks maybe. And then the next thing I did was I just started eating so many more vegetables. I'd always been big on salads and everything else, but I just needed to up my fiber and up my vegetable game, I felt. So vegetables, clean protein, and interestingly, I now start my day every day with a savoury breakfast. Mm-hmm. Gone are the cereals, gone are toast and marmalade and jam, or bagels and all of that. Now I have a plate of steamed vegetables, which taste different every day because I mix the veg up, and then I'll have olive oil and lemon, then I'll mix the seeds up. I'll have different avocado, avocado one day, egg the next day, maybe a bit of fish from the night before the next day. And honestly, it took about 2 weeks to get used to it and go, where's the sweets and, what's going on? And where's the honey and all the rest of it? And then after that, I was rocking and rolling. And I feel that it sort of sets me up for a good day. And I know I've had all my veggies if I can't get them in later on in the day. And I know that, I'm doing the best thing by my digestive tract and all the rest to sort of set myself up there. But one of my big struggles, which is why I'm so happy to talk to you today, Alex, is food planning, meal planning. I'm busy. I've got 3 kids. I want to be able to set aside a day to do batch cooking, but it doesn't always work. And sometimes I come in, my kids have already eaten, so I'm eating later than I want, and I don't want to start from scratch because I want to eat early. So what you do is music to my ears, because it's like the healthy stuff delivered when you need it.
Perfect. Yeah, and thanks very much for talking to us. It's been a long time coming, and really excited to talk. I guess just to give everyone a brief intro to us. So at Field Dog, we make meals to feed your health, and a lot of what we do is all based in peer-reviewed science, and our team of dietitians review that and then come up with the right nutrition for a specific need. And then our team of chefs pull their hair out because it's quite complicated and trying to turn this difficult nutrition into meals and recipes. And we make ready meals that people will know and recognize, from curries to lasagnas, and you name it. We're trying to make it in our Somerset kitchen. But where I think we are, quite unique, is that we really focus in on specific health conditions, like you said. So things like IBS that affects sort of 1 in 7 people in the country at some point in their life, type 2 diabetes, mental health, women's health, healthy aging, celiac. So and we basically create ranges of meals for those different areas and different conditions, and work quite closely with the charities, healthcare professionals that support people in those areas. And we make all the meals in our kitchen down in Somerset, batch cook them, only use the best ingredients, so everything is UPF free, whole grains. I think we're probably the only ready meal company in the UK that only uses extra virgin olive oil, because it tastes amazing, but it also has so many amazing health benefits built into it. And then we flash freeze everything, and then send it out overnight all around the country to thousands of people who then, like you say, can just pop it in a microwave or in the oven, and it'll be ready in 7-8 minutes, and job done, prep done. Every meal will have 2 of your 5 a day, massive amounts of plant diversity, helping people get their 30 plant points that people might be starting to hear about. But also fundamentally, I mean, the mission is they have to taste amazing as well. So Matt, who's our our head chef works super hard to do that, and we've won a host of Great Taste Awards. So yeah,
you've mentioned a couple of things there, the word diversity, and then you talked about the sort of like the 30 plant points. So in my book, Walk Yourself Happy, I talked to Tim Spector, who seems to be everywhere at the moment, the food man. And he really talks a lot about this diversity. And I did the Zoe thing, and I came out bad on sugar because I think I've just abused myself with sugar for so long. So my sugar response is not great. My fat response is quite good. And my biodiversity was really, really high, like up there. He said like top 20% of the population, because I've really worked hard in those morning meals, Laura, for breakfast, to really like colours and different cabbages and cauliflower and do all of that. So that's really important, isn't it, for diversity? And those 30 things that you talk about, it sounds like quite a lot, but actually if you can have like, you know, different seeds in the morning and 2 or 3 different, you're going to be there quite quickly, even though it feels like a daunting number.
And lots of things like spices will count. So spices might be half a point or a quarter of a point.
Yeah.
So eat a curry, and actually there's tons of stuff in there to set you on the, absolutely.
I am so excited because you guys are sending me some stuff. I can't wait to taste a healthy curry, because it was the one thing I was like, I just can't eat curries anymore, because mostly they're not made with extra virgin olive oil, as you know, and also you don't always know what's in them, the old curries. And I'm now needs to know the origin, so I'm very excited about being able to have a curry again.
Brilliant. No, yeah. And I think the really exciting thing that we're working on now, and hence really reaching out to talk with you, is we've recently been awarded an Innovate grant from the government to develop a range for breast cancer survivors. And cancer, I think, is a topic that, you know, everyone has a story about cancer, or it touches so many people, and it's really important that actually after if you survive, and it's quite high, there's a high degree of survival rates in breast cancer, but actually the treatment can really affect you, whether it's about loss of taste or appetite. And it's really super important to try and get, you know, quite specific nutrition into the body in that period afterwards. So we're a few months into the development of this range that it's an 18-month project, and hopefully out of it we'll have this amazing range that we can then do a pilot trial to prove that there's an element, it will be accepted, you can eat it, delivering the right nutrition, and then hopefully often beyond that we'll then go away and run further trials to, you know, prove that it is delivering support and benefits to people.
Well, I look forward to being the guinea pig for that one. Laura, if we talk about a specific sort of diet or nutrition for breast cancer, what are we talking about? Where's your research indicating at the moment?
So when it comes to nutrition and cancer, we have a set of recommendations around diet which are designed to reduce, or the research shows that they reduce our risk of all cancers. So they're kind of broad recommendations, but some of these recommendations do relate more strongly to specific cancers like breast cancer or bowel cancer. So I'll go through kind of the big ones, and I can sort of highlight which ones relate more strongly to breast cancer. So the first one is the stuff that you've been talking about already, which is eating lots of plant food. So the recommendation is to make whole grains, so things like wholemeal bread, wholemeal pasta, oats, brown rice, fruits, veggies, and pulses, so beans, peas, and lentils, like a really big part of our everyday diet. And the advice from the World Cancer Research Fund as a sort of tool to help us do it is, when we look at our main meal plates, is to try and make 3/4 of our plate whole grains, fruits, vegetables, and pulses, so a mixture of those foods, and that will kind of help us make these foods a big part of our diet. So there's lots of different positive aspects to that. So fruits and vegetables contain lots of what we call bioactive compounds. So they are absorbed in the body and they have effects in the body. So as well as vitamins and minerals, antioxidants, what we call phytonutrients, and these can have positive effects. So fibre, we know, have a strong relationship with the reduced risk of bowel cancer, but in terms of breast cancer, foods are brightly coloured, so greens, oranges, reds, these are compounds that can actually sort of they regulate cell growth in the body, so they sort of have a positive effect in that way. Other recommendations which relate really strongly to breast cancer is there's one around alcohol. So when it comes to breast cancer prevention, it's best not to drink alcohol at all. People
are not going to like that, and people don't like it. It's such a touchy controversial subject. And, you know, there's a lot of news out there going, oh, a glass of red wine a day is all right. And if you're with friends and all the rest of it. But I think the science is pretty clear now. And you know, don't shoot the messengers, that actually alcohol is a toxin. It doesn't matter whether you're drinking wine or beer or spirits. It is what it is, and there is an element of risk involved in drinking alcohol. For me, certainly, that was something I forgot to mention at the top. Big change. I stopped. I've cut out alcohol. I did have a glass of wine on my birthday, and so I don't say I'm teetotal. I say I've cut it out because I don't drink weekly. I don't go out and drink now. I mean, I was at a bar recently with a friend of mine, and I sat at the bar with a pot of jasmine tea, and people were going, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, you know, I'm out. I'm here. I'm happy. I'm socializing." That's the decision I've made, because for me personally, I was told that drinking moderately, so more than like 6 units a week, that could increase my chance of reoccurrence by up to 28%. And that's just not worth it for me.
Yeah.
I've got young children. I've made a really sort of positive switch in my mind to be here for as long as possible. So I'm looking at all of the risks and trying to sort of make a jigsaw puzzle which fits together, and you know, I don't sort of contradict that. So I'd rather give up alcohol, and you know, maybe I could do something else over here.
Yeah, so I think it's 1 in 10 breast cancer cases are related to drinking alcohol. So yeah, the advice is for all cancers, but there's really, really strong evidence relating to breast cancer that it's safest not to drink alcohol at all. And that can be a really tough recommendation. So I think, you know, when we sort of had a phone call, didn't we? We were sort of talking about alcohol being, it's a thing that you get a really hard time about if you say that you're not going to be having it, or, you know, you're going to skip it. So that's a really big recommendation. There's also a recommendation around maintaining a healthy weight. This is particularly important, like for postmenopausal women in terms of breast cancer risk, because we know that fat is an active tissue. So women that are overweight in postmenopausal period have an increased risk of breast cancer. But all of these dietary recommendations around eating lots of plant foods and making those highly processed foods that are high in fat and sugar the smallest part of our diet will support reaching a healthy weight. And I know you're a massive advocate of activity. So physical activity is a really, really strong protective factor to reduce the risk of a broad range of cancers, and there's really strong evidence for its benefit for reducing the risk of breast cancer as well. Yeah.
In fact, there's a big study only this week. I mean, there's a study almost every week or at least every month about walking and the benefits of walking. And there's another study out this week that has given 5 big points. I think it came out of Harvard. And the 5th point on there is reduction in risk of cancers, alongside all the mental health benefits, cardiovascular health, mood enhancement, and everything else. And another important thing for women, particularly, I would say, is resistance training and muscles and maintaining that muscle mass. I love it when women say, oh, I don't want to get big. It's like, you're not going to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, not, you know, unless you're really going for it. Being strong is important for all of us, certainly as we get older. So yes, for me, activity and walking and combining everything that you've said is I think a good way of just balancing stuff and making sure that you do enough of everything, enough exercise, enough walking, enough eating well. But it can be hard for some people, and I do understand that. And I think there has to be a real understanding for people who say, oh, alcohol. I don't want people to get stressed. And I would say, you know, if you're aware of that, it's something that you can try and moderate. And just for me, or every time now I put something in my mouth, I go, how is this benefiting me? Is this adding to my health? Is this helping my longevity? And it might be, on a certain day, it might be a gorgeous bit of dark chocolate. And actually it's helping me because it's making me feel happy. And I know it's dark chocolate and I'm just having a little treat. And that's the benefit. But mostly it's about what's it doing for my cells? What's it doing for my liver? What's it doing for me? And that's why I think this is such a great thing that you've set up here, Alex. It's truly inspired. It really is, because I think it's the thing that we all struggle with most, how to eat healthily.
And I think there's lots of bits where people find it hard to almost start the journey. So whether it's cutting out salt or cutting out sugar, and it's sort of, you don't have to do it straight away. You don't have to go teetotal and everything. It's certainly possible to, you know, start the process. And I think the food industry have done a reasonably good job with salt about trying to reduce it down, but we still, we always have our salt less than 1.8 grams because the risk of heart disease and high blood pressure is quite significant. So occasionally people will say to us, I have to season your food, and it's, well, that's okay as long as you're aware of the factors. But the reason we're doing this is because heart health and blood pressure and all those things are really, really important. So we'll take that position that we'll only put so much salt in because that's the right choice, and we're trying to urge people to follow that process and reduce their salt.
And that's that famous
sugar.
That's that famous expression, season to taste. It's like, that's what we all do. It's like add your spices and your pepper and your salt for your flavors. It might be chili oil, it might be chili flakes that you want to add. So it's quite a personal thing. Have you got any tips, Laura, for people who are trying to change habits? If they're trying to, what would you say as a dietitian if somebody came to you and said, I really want to start eating healthy, where do I start, what do I do, and how do I make this happen? I'll give a little habit. I'll give a tip about how I do my walking and my exercise every day in a moment.
Yeah, so I know, made things a really sort of sustainable part of your life, and I'm sure it kind of looks different now to what it looked like at the start. And I think the temptation, with most things in life, is just to go at it, do everything at once. But what we know is it's much easier to make a small change and just sort of to focus on like one or two things than to give everything a huge overhaul. Because the chances are, if you make that massive overhaul, like, you're not going to be able to stick with it. It's not to say that you can't stack on those changes over time. So just looking at your diet and thinking about one or two things that you could start with. I like to work from the top down. So you were talking about breakfast, so I sort of say to people, like, what change could you make at breakfast? Might be adding a piece of fruit, might be switching a breakfast cereal for some porridge, something like that. So just starting with one or two changes and then doing them for a couple of weeks, and then stacking on the next change. So keep it small. Yeah. Just use one or two things. There's also, as humans, like, we need confidence, and we need to build our confidence, and we kind of need to feel good about what we're doing. So having some way of like tracking what we're doing, there's tons of habit trackers out there, even like printing yourself a little diary and just putting a tick every time you do the thing that you're going to say you do. It builds your confidence, it builds your motivation, and in like showing up for yourself and doing the things that you say you're going to do. And also because we're busy, right? There's so many things vying for our attention that when we start a new habit, if it's something that is abnormal for us, out of our normal routine, we need to have a trigger to remind ourselves to do it. So whether that's like sticking the fruit bowl in a very visible place, or like having a post-it note on the fridge that says, add fruit or add veg to lunch or grab whatever it is, then you need that trigger to get yourself in the habit of doing it. And once it becomes something that you do every day, it takes much less mental energy, but you sort of at the beginning need to help yourself along a bit. So yeah, they would be my tips. I don't know what you can add from your experience.
Well, I do a thing in the mornings now when I wake up. One of the first things that I do, first of all, the first thing I do is not look at my phone. That's out of the bedroom, that's gone. So the first thing I don't do is scroll. And that is a really good tip for everybody, because it gets your brain into a heightened state straight away when you do that, which is not where you want to be as you start your day. So the first thing I do is I open my bathroom window, and I can sit safely on my window ledge, and I let the morning light into my eyes. And that can help with your hormone cascade, and it can help with your mood, and it helps suppress your melatonin that you've been building up through the night, and then gets all your other hormones set for the day, and actually bizarrely helps with your sleep at the end of the day. So you're basically clocking into your circadian rhythms. And what I do is, even now I do it in winter when it's miserable, I've got one of those big dry robe things, and that is in my bathroom. So in the morning, I see it first thing. And I do my mouth pulling and brush my teeth, whatever I'm doing, and then it's there, and it's there, and I pull it on, and there's no excuse that it's raining or cold. And that's what I do. I sit there and I have my 10, 15 minutes if I can, 5 minutes if I'm running late and the kids are screaming and we need to get out the door on the way to school. And I think that's another good thing to say to people. If you can't manage your half an hour, you say you're going to go to the gym or you're going to work out for half an hour, and you can't, it's better to do the 5 minutes than not to do it at all, because that really builds the habit. And then eventually it just becomes that thing of, I haven't done that, I need to do that. And it becomes a bit of a non-negotiable for yourself that you have to do that, however you squeeze it in, whatever that time is. So that would be my tip for people.
It's also about just how I think we talked about a bit about support, and my habit, so I'm going to jump in, but is having water in the morning and getting up and going, right, I just need to hydrate myself. And I was taught that, or was told to do that when I used to row, and it's like first thing in the morning, get up, hydrate yourself, and just sort of get the body up and moving as well, like you say. But I think so often it's a bit about support as well, and like you mentioned, or how do you sort of, either you can do it by your little nudges, by leaving the fruit out or putting post-it notes around, or sometimes, I don't know, we need some support. And as part of what we're doing with the cancer grant, and not spin it back to that, but we're building out these programs, and we have one for our low FODMAP range, which is for people with IBS. And it's a program that actually just helps you and gives you support along the way, so that you're not doing it blind. It will send you an email, give you a nudge.
Tell me what FODMAP is, Laura.
So FODMAP, the low FODMAP diet, it's a type of diet to help manage symptoms of IBS. So it's a type of elimination diet. So it reduces FODMAPs, which are basically a group of fermentable carbohydrates in the diet that can trigger symptoms like gas, bloating. So basically IBS symptoms.
Right.
It doesn't cause IBS, but it can aggravate the symptoms. So the diet involves sort of cutting out these foods or replacing them for 2 to 6 weeks to see if your symptoms get better. And if they do, then you sort of go on to find out which one of those that you've cut out triggers your symptoms. But you need to do it with the help of a dietitian, and it can be really difficult to follow. So that's where our program comes in, because it was written by me. So it's kind of, you can trust the information, but it has the added benefit of, like, you have the meals as well. So one of the things people find hardest is like cooking for a diet that you have not done before. You've got to eliminate all these different foods, including like onion and garlic, which mostly go into like all recipes. So Matt's done an incredible job of creating these delicious meals which are certified low FODMAP. So you're following this diet, you get the meals delivered to your door, and it just makes that whole process much easier.
Okay, well, guys, fascinating. I'm going to turn the comments on and just see if we've got any questions coming in here now. I don't know if that's going to work. I don't know if they stack them up, or whether or not whether they'll start coming in now. We've just got some people saying hello. Let's see if there are any questions. We've just got lots of people saying hello and good evening, which is always lovely. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you all. Lovely to see you. Lots of hearts. That's good. That's always good. But I don't think we've got any particular questions right now, just some big waves. So I will say, for now then, Alex and Laura, I'll say goodbye. And I will just say that I'm going to be jumping over after this live, and I'm going to be doing a story where I will have a code to share with you, an affiliate code, which gives you 20% off your first 2 orders if you want to try out the Field Doctor Amazing Foods. And you've heard about all the different ranges here. And if you're somebody like me who needs a little bit of a helping hand along with your busy weeks, then this could be just what you've been looking for. And I hope that we guys are going to keep talking, because I can't wait to hear more about the breast cancer nutrition and how that research developed.
Yeah, definitely. We should stay in touch. Julia, there definitely have been some comments just come in. So if anyone wants to ask a question, we're at field.uk. So I've seen something about type 2 diabetes. There's been some other bits and pieces.
Oh, here we go.
So,
yeah, I'm type 2 diabetes. My vice has always been fizzy drinks. How do I stop this? That's a tricky one. And fizzy drinks are devil's dumplings.
What do you say,
Laura?
I'm from a type 2 diabetes perspective. I guess we're looking to reduce sugar. So I'm not, without knowing what the type of fizzy drink is, I would probably suggest like switching to like a diet version of a fizzy drink first, because then you've got rid of the sugar, and then slowly you could maybe then start alternating those fizzy drinks with other things. I think for whatever you do, it needs to be something that you can keep up with. So yeah, that's what I would recommend as a first kind of point. I think some people find going cold turkey is like the right thing for them to do with something like fizzy drinks. But the research shows if you're trying to get rid of a bad habit, it's better to replace it with something rather than just try to eliminate it altogether. So finding a replacement for that fizzy drink is going to be really important for you. So finding a healthier replacement rather than just like going cold turkey on it.
just a little tip from a mum who has 3 children who all seem to be, you know, children just all seem to gravitate towards fizzy drinks, especially the ones that are blue coloured, which I don't allow, by the way. But I always find actually sparkling water with some flavours in it. So we've experimented like with rose water. We've put, you know, the old elderflower cordial, which can be high in sugar, but, you know, do a sort of a half measure. I just genuinely think that occasionally those are definitely better than a full-on, full-fat, whatever it might be, and definitely nothing blue or bright yellow.
Absolutely.
So I hope that's helpful for me.
Blue is definitely bad.
No, definitely bad. Steve-O says here the first step is the hardest, and it definitely is. And how often would you suggest having a field doc meal per week? Well, I guess Alex would say have one every day. No, I think it's about having them when you need them, isn't it? To help you out. But you might have particular days that are busy for you with work, or, you know, maybe it's a Sunday and you don't want to be preparing anything on a Sunday because it's your down day. I guess your answer, Alex, would just be as and when you think you need it.
Yeah, if someone's following for example, one of the programs, then they can be, you know, we can cater for breakfast, your lunches, and your snacks. But I think, you know, a lot often it's people are, you know, like we say, if people can cook and cook in the right way, actually we're, you know, really supportive of people cooking and managing their diet and doing it themselves. But we all know that we're busy, so yeah, our meals are designed that they're, you know, there's 1 persons and 2 persons, and as and when they're really super convenient, and love everyone in the country to be using them all the time, but that is unrealistic. But
Laura, one more question before we go. Somebody here is saying that they've got high cholesterol runs in their family. Give me some good news. Actually, it's not all bad news about cholesterol at the moment, is it? In the world of nutrition.
So I guess if it runs in his family, there may be, you know, there's other elements to think about, because you can have familial hypercholesterolemia. So yeah, there may be, that might, obviously I'm sure that's something that they've discussed with their GP. But in terms of diet, there's lots of things that you can do with your diet to help reduce cholesterol. So there's something, rather than going into it in detail, called the portfolio diet, which is like 5 different like small changes you can make to your diet, which when stacked together can have as much impact for some people as a cholesterol lowering drug. So yeah, we're not about rejecting like prescription medication for conditions, but we are about answering the question, how do I eat to help my condition? So yeah,
that's really interesting. That's great. All right, guys. Well, I think we've covered loads here tonight, and we've had lots of interaction, which is brilliant. And yeah, we'll pick this up. And as I said, hop over to stories, and if you want your 20% code, then it will be there. And for now, to the inspirational Alex, thank you for founding such a great company with such a good idea, and always lovely to talk, Laura. It's brilliant, and I hope that we can talk more about some food-related stuff. It's great.
Thanks,
Julia.
All right, take care, everybody. Have a good evening. Don't forget, stay healthy, go for a walk, eat well.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Take care. Bye.